Alright guys, welcome back to Rome Reviews. I'm Rome, and today I want to do a comparison between the OriginOS5 and FuntouchOS 15. Even though it says OriginOS 5, this is their latest version of OriginOS. It is based on Android 15. So let's get that out of the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into it. So right off the bat, one of the main differences of these two devices is, and it's just something you'll notice immediately. On FuntouchOS, Google services, and I mean the full Google services, the whole entire suite is active out of the box. That includes Android Auto, that includes the ability to connect it to your Pixel Watch and your Pixel Buds. On OriginOS, you have to go in and enable Google services, and even when you do enable it, it's not the full suite. And here's what I mean by that. You'll go in and you see Google Basic Service Management. You go ahead, and I have it enabled here, but you have to turn it on once you get into the device itself, which is fine. So after you enable Google services, you have to go into the V App Store. The V App Store, you'll see it looks like a little shopping bag, blue and orange and white. And you have to search for the Google Play Store. Once you install that, you have to navigate over to the Google Play Store and install all of your Google apps, every single one of them. Now, even though you're going through that process, you have Google services enabled. Once again, does not work with your Pixel Watch, does not work with your Pixel Buds. It does not do the what is Samsung's app, Galaxy Wearables. Actually, I can show you what it'll do if I still have the app installed. Let me see. Is it Watch? Yep, Watch. So if I try to open Pixel Watch, I'll get an error that says require a package. Even if you try to go through all this trouble, this stuff still would not work properly. So it's just not worth it. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be a deciding factor for a lot of people. The next thing is, let's go to the home screen on both of these. Swipe over to the left. You'll see you have your widgets and apps. They call them kits on OriginOS, but they're going to be the Chinese version of those, and you cannot change that. You can change the layout. You can add stuff to it, but you cannot add Google any Google services to that screen, which would be lovely if you could, because I can go ahead and see my actual news feed from Google. But you cannot see that over here. So that's another thing. You cannot change that. The next thing is when you long press your power button and bring up your AI assistant, it brings up the Chinese version. It's called Blue AI. I think you could exit to do certain things on the phone. I haven't fully tested it yet. I asked it a question the other day, a very simple question. It did answer it, but I asked it something a little more complicated where I had to go out and kind of compile an answer. It failed. On FuntouchOS, you have Gemini, or you can have Google Assistant, whichever one you set it to. I have Gemini, but you don't have to do that. Let me line these up for you guys just so you can see it. All right, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Moving on to the next thing, long pressing on the home screen. This is going to be different. So over here on FuntouchOS, and please do not get offended by me saying this, but it is dumbed down. And it impacts me as well, and I actually like it like this. Well, I'll say that Mood Cube, which is OriginOS's quick customization button over here, it's grown on me. And it's grown on me quite a bit. I actually have a real appreciation for Mood Cube now. What it does, it allows you to make quick changes to your OS, where you can see your OS will have more rounded buttons, or you can have them more square. And you can have it somewhere in between. That is nice. Over here, not quite as accessible. You have to go into another menu. Now, if you or you could pinch. You long press, pinch. And you can just jump around from your screens. That's fine. But what these do is you can't do anything on this screen. You actually have, it just brings up buttons to where you can actually navigate into your other screens. So You can do your quick wallpaper changes here, which is okay, but it does not change lock screen and home screen. So keep that in mind. And and on top of that, you have to swipe over all the way over to the right to get to the more button, the menu, to bring up all your wallpaper so you can make your changes. And not a deal breaker, but just not nearly as quick as Mood Cube, because you can go in here and yeah, it'll take you into wallpapers there, and you don't have to swipe all forever to get to it. So that's another thing. Let's see if you can pinch to zoom. Pinch to bring up the menu. There. So here's another thing I really like about OriginOS as far as customization goes. Keep that in mind. If I click mono, the mono button here, it'll make the wallpaper black and white. And you can stack these styles. They're called window styles. You can stack them. So I have mono selected. I can click blur, and it'll blur my wallpaper and make it mono. So it's black and white and blurry. And you can put sky on it. And it'll bring in like it'll use the current weather to put this like cloudy sun shining through the clouds effect on there, and you can turn them off one by one. Maybe you don't want the blur on there, but you still want that sky on there, or maybe you don't want mono. But it's so nice, but you can't. I don't think you can stack sky. Yeah, you can do time, and it'll use the time of day to impact that. And it's sunny right now. You can see it's ever so slight, but you can see this like the sun, like it's bright, and it'll be darker at nighttime. So there's that. You have themes here. It's straightforward. It is what it is. You can turn your icon names on and off. This stuff. And let me pull my camera app up here, just so you guys can see it when I have the menu up, Mood Cube. And you can do exquisite or you can do simple. And it changed the icon ever so slight. It looks like a lens. And if you do modern, it just makes it look like a modern lens. Nothing too crazy. It does have an impact on other like native apps on the phone, but I don't use those apps, so it's really not as beneficial for me. But it's an option. And what are we paying for, people? Options. So going back to Mood Cube, you can actually, let me take that icon back up there and bring up Mood Cube again. Oh, saying that a lot. And you could do mellow. And you can do open, and it makes the icon round. And that doesn't have the same effect for every app. And you can do the app sizes. I have it on small right now. If I turn it to large, I think it's going to change my layout, so I don't want to do that right now. But those are the quick changes you can make just from going to Mood Cube. And then you can do home settings, and you just navigate into how you want your screen to be laid out. So here's another thing that is, I think it's consistent across the board. I think it's the same for FuntouchOS. Let me clear those notifications. Okay, let's go into settings. Let's go up. Don't go to sleep on me. Go to home settings. It just takes me a minute to get there. So there, you can have standard style or a drawer style. And for those that do not know, standard style is just basically the option where it puts all of your apps on your home screen. Like the best thing I can compare to that I can think of off the top of my head is Apple. You don't have your drawer. You just have to swipe left and right for all of your apps, and you have to organize them on your screen in order for you to be able to access them quickly. I like drawer style because I do not like all of my apps that are installed on my phone to be on my home screen. I just don't. It's not a thing for me. I like to be able to swipe up and bring up that drawer, and I have it like that on every phone. And that's just what I prefer. I mean, nothing wrong with that. If you like all your apps on your home screen, that's perfectly fine. Let me put that camera icon back. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transition into the next different thing that I noticed. Actually, let's see. I want to show you guys this. So on the right side of the screen, I think Apple does it as well. I mean, I have my work iPhone, but I don't play with it as much. I just respond to email or Teams messages or whatever. But on the right, if you swipe down the right side of the screen, it brings up your quick toggle buttons. And if I do it on the left, it'll bring up my notifications. That's nice. I've actually had to get used to that because I'm just used to swiping down anywhere and bringing up my notifications. You'll see that's how it is here. Bring up a notification. If you swipe down again, then you'll get your buttons. That's perfectly fine. You have options. Now, I don't know. Actually, I'm going to do this on live because I'm not entirely sure. So let's do notification and status bar. Let's do... Alright guys, I found it. So swiping down on the right side, the pencil, the little toggle button right there, and it'll bring up your control center, and you can choose whether you want to have this option where display control center and notification center separately, or you can change it to control center and notification center are one, and you have to swipe down twice like on the other screen. So here and then here again. I'm going to keep them separate just because it's different, and I want to keep them different and see if it's beneficial and just use something, see if I can get used to it, see if I can get very comfortable with it. Actually, I like it. It's grown on me more. So moving on to the next thing. Let's get back in here. Let's go to settings, go down, and what we're going to do now is go into home screen, lock screen, wallpaper, home screen, lock screen, wallpaper, so you see how those two look. And the first thing that I noticed when I went in here is that lock screen actually has a fancy button to it like the other menus, whereas on the FuntouchOS it has lock screen settings here. So let's go in, that's what's different, so let's go into that. So if I go in here and I go on edit, it brings up the lock screen. You can see immediately it looks different between the two. You could do lock screen, home screen, and over here to the left is always on display. And you can change those things. So if I go here and click on decorate, I could choose like a colorful photo. You know what? Let's do it. And you see how it makes the snake pop out? Which is, I mean, that's so cool. I mean, you have those options to do stuff like that. And you choose how it looks. That's nice. Let's see. Let's come out of there. Change. I don't want to change my wallpaper. That takes you into change wallpaper. So right off the bat, you'll notice that you don't have any of those options here. Now you can change the clock, and it's the same across the board. You can see it on both sides. There, not a lot. You just have one more option here where you can have the clock stacked in the middle like that. But this one is just in the middle and offset to the left. Those are on two options there. So that's that. And then DOF, which is depth of field, where you see the snake's head is blocking the clock a little bit. That's nice. I'm glad that more and more people are implementing that. You do not have the option on FuntouchOS. Hey, it is what it is. Just want to show you guys that. And you can change your always on display. It'll take you to all your options there. You have a lot of those. And home screen, change your wallpaper. You can blur it, but you only have that one option there. Whereas if you use move cube like you saw earlier in the video, you can change that a lot more. And that's really it. Let me see, make sure there's nothing else. Let me do calendar on both. You see signature, and you can do countdown to a day or anniversary, day and anniversary. So you have one more option there. You could choose here, but that's on both phones. You could do the phone, and you do all these options here. You don't have quite as many on this one as you do on here. You have wallet here. You have, let's see, what else? I think that's it, really. I don't know why this means device controls. That's why it looks a little bit bigger. Okay. Device controls and wallet. That's why those look different. Okay. So, do you see those differences there? Let's cancel out. Discard. And let's go back. Oh, you'll also see that your lock screen has more options on here where you can do downloaded styles. I don't have anything downloaded, so no surprises there. Lock screen poster. And you have even more options here. I'm not going to go through those options, but I want to show you that you do have them. And you can do lock screen poster. And basically what it does is, no, let's turn off. It'll make your lock screen look like a poster, basically. So There's that. Show Origin Player on lock screen. I don't use Origin Player, so I'm not benefiting from that. Which actually leads me into my next major difference between these two. Let's go back to here. Let's go into settings. All right. So here we're going to do notifications. And let's go to notification status bar on both screens. You see it looks different. You don't get the notification screens. They call it alerts here, but same thing. You can see they look very similar. Your badges pop up and lock screen. But over here you have what they call Origin Island. It's pretty much exactly the same as what does Apple call it? Dynamic Island. But this one is extremely limited, and I'll show you what I mean. No, well, I'll say it's limited to me simply because I don't use any of the Origin stuff on here, so I don't get the benefit of using the Origin Island on there. So let me clear these notifications. So, right, so to show you what I mean, let's hope and pray nothing crazy shows up on Instagram. So I have a reel open. If I go to send a reel and I copy link, you'll see it'll copy the link and it'll open up like a little menu in the Origin Island up here, and I can open a URL. It uses that for a lot more stuff that's native to the phone, but I don't use any other native apps, so there's no benefit to me at all. But it has this nice little pop out up here around the camera, like you're seeing on most of the phones now that are mimicking what Apple presented a little while back. It's fine. I think it would be a nice feature if I could actually benefit from it, but there's no benefit for me. So moving on, let's see. Back to notifications. Here's going to be the other major notification. Actually, not from here. We're going to go into home screen, lock screen, display, wallpaper, always on display. And we're going to go into more display settings. You have to keep going and going and going. But AOD notifications, and you'll see here. Here's the big difference for me that I've noticed that it actually bothers me a little bit. You see, you get Gmail, which is not, I don't think it's native on the device. I'm pretty sure I had to install it once I enabled Google services. But you only have 3 options here. Whereas on always on display notifications, with the very recent FuntouchOS update, you can have up to 20 apps displaying on your always on display, and that is lovely. And they look like the actual app icons. On here they look like the actual app icons, but it's only for these 3 apps. That is insane to me. I don't know why they did that, why they limited you in such a way, but that's what you have. And it chose to do Gmail, and it didn't even do Google Messages for some reason. It's so weird to me. I don't know the choices that were made here. But that's another one. And let's see. I think there was one more that I wanted to mention. Boy, you have to get deep into this app, and into this phone in order to get to always on display notifications. I guess they don't want you messing with it too much. But anyway, the Vivo account on the phone, you see it's in Chinese. So if I go into the Vivo store, I think it's the Vivo.com. Let's do it on here. I don't use it much, but it just tells a story of how you can't really use every app on this phone in a way that you can on FunTouch, because FuntouchOS Vivo Store, it puts it in, I don't want notifications right now because it was notifying me way too much, but you can see that it's in English and I can actually use the app. Now the currency is still in that language. It still uses their currency, but that's fine. At least I can read. But some of the stuff I get in here, I just don't understand it. I don't know what it's about. So I end up not interacting with it much, because I actually will go to the store and just look around a little bit and see what phones that Vivo is spouting about recently, but I just can't use it on here. So let me close that and close that. And what is the other thing? Widgets, or as they call them, kits on this device. They don't behave like you think they would. So actually, let me go ahead and go here, and I'm going to do the Google News app. Where is it? Let's drag it over here, drop it there. Now, that's not bad. But what if I wanted to cover the whole screen like I did here, on here? What happens is if I try to manipulate this app at all, it freaks out. It shrinks. And I can't re-expand it. So I would have to completely remove it here and then reapply it. On here, on FuntouchOS, I can shrink it. I can bring it back. So there are some things. It just, even though you enable Google services on here, it just does not play as well as I would like it to with all the Google apps and the widgets. So that's just something to keep in mind. So just to wrap this up, the differences are very minor from the native version of their OS, OriginOS, to FuntouchOS, but the changes are enough to impact me as a user in the US. And I'll say this: if you are in the US, there is no reason to get OriginOS over FuntouchOS unless there are only two reasons for, and it's really for tech enthusiasts. If you're just that enthusiast that just wants to experience OriginOS just to play with something different, be my guest. That's for you. And the other reason is if you are interested in a Vivo device that does not have a global release, does not have a global version, then this device is for you. I mean, then OriginOS is for you. I'm sorry, OriginOS is for you. Those are the only two reasons to choose OriginOS over FuntouchOS. Otherwise, FuntouchOS, despite what people have said in my comments on a couple of videos where FuntouchOS hasn't changed in years and in any updates, this feels like a solid update. You get your always on display. You get your smooth animations. Now, I will say, I was about to wrap this up, but I will say this. Out of the box, a lot of animations weren't turned on. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad experience, but you have to turn on a lot of the animations and things like that to make it feel much smoother than what it was. And you can do that in dynamic effects and enhanced dynamic effects. I don't know if that was on by default, but let's see. What is the other piece? I think it was dynamic effects. Home screen transition, you could put it to comfortable where it makes it like ease in as opposed to jerking in. But keep in mind, as you turn on more animations, the batteries drain like crazy. And you have animations for everything on these devices. I have a video covering FuntouchOS and the animations and all the options that you have. So there's that. But as an end user, and especially even if you're a tech enthusiast, if you've gotten this far, and as far as the US goes, if you've gotten this far and you're exploring Vivo devices, I'm almost certain that you're a tech enthusiast. But it depends on how deep into this you want to get. OriginOS is a great operating system, but you miss out on so many features because you're in the US and it's not meant for that. It's not meant for the US. It's not for our market, so you can't use the Blue AI on the device as much. You could do things in the native albums to your photos. You could do some AI changes there and stuff like that. But as far as actually reaching out and talk to your AI on the device and have it reach out and get information and bring it back to you in a way that is understandable, it won't do that. It'll fail. Whereas on FuntouchOS, you have Gemini. You have the full access to the Google suite. So that is the reason why you will go with FuntouchOS in the US over OriginOS. The watch, even if you have Samsung or whatever, it's more likely to work with your device without you having to tinker and try to find a way to work around and maybe still coming up on a dead end. So you have your Pixel Buds, you have your Samsung, your Galaxy Buds and things like that. It will work on FuntouchOS, not on OriginOS. So just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention. And if you are still here and you enjoyed the video and you appreciate the information, like and subscribe. And that support goes a long way for the channel, and I really appreciate it. So until then, I will catch you guys later, and I'll catch you in the next one.